Hestea, hello. Long time no see. I'm just kidding. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. And thanks for helping me.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us what time it is in your given time zone right now?
It's 8 in Stellenbosch in the evening.
That's dinner time. That's relaxation time, guys. And Hestea is so awesome that she is giving up her evening to be with all of you. So thank you so much for being here. You are such a joy, and we're so excited to have you. So awesome. I guess we can just start with this question. If you can tell us a little bit about who you are, how you became an RD, a little bit about your background, and why don't you go with maybe your favorite thing about your role? Let's start there.
Yes. Okay, we'll start there. That's a lovely question. So maybe before I say what my favorite thing is working with my American AIFS students is, I've been doing this for 20 years, and so I've had over thousands of students in my office at Stellenbosch, and I absolutely love the fact that every 6 months, students normally come for 6 months at a time, that every 6 months I meet an incredible bunch of brand new American students, and they just bring so much heart with them on the semester, and love meeting all the new students for the semester. And every semester it's so different. I learn so much from the students, and so don't think my gray hair has got anything to do with difficulties on campus. It's just because I'm getting older and older. But the stuff that I learn from the students is probably one of my highlights of being in this session. And then I must also say that through 20 years, to see how the American student, or how students have changed psychologically, emotionally, the resilience that they arrive with on campus in Stellenbosch in South Africa, how incredible that that change has taken place through the years. But I do absolutely love the American students. I love their hearts, and I love their spirit of adventure when they come to South Africa.
Excellent. Yeah. And we love you right back, Hestea. Oh, I'm so happy to have you. I just can't stop smiling. Awesome. So with South Africa in specific, we know what a resident director does. You guys are that on-site support throughout the program for the students. Not to say that you handhold, but anything that they need during that time, emergency or otherwise, you're that point of contact. But specifically with Stellenbosch, excuse me, just butchered the name of the program. Are there specific, I guess, duties in your role that are, pertinent to the geographics, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I always think about students from the moment that they've made the decision to come and study abroad. Why do they choose Stellenbosch? What type of student choose South Africa? It's not the easiest destination to come to. It's not the easiest destination to convince your family and your friends and your parents and grandparents that this is the country that I want to come to. And so the type of student arriving on our campus at Stellenbosch is a student who's already taken that plunge into the decision of stepping into an unknown world, an unknown territory, a place that they've never really seen on television, that they know what it's going to be like. They don't know the culture that well. They don't know the general lifestyle in South Africa, etc. So everything is really, really very, very new for them. And so when students arrive to come to study in Stellenbosch, it's super important that we're there for them 24/7. But it's also very important for us to guide them into a space where they can learn, where they can grow, where they can be uncomfortable, and that's where most learning takes place. And so we try and find the balance in our office to really support the students beautifully, but at the same time, let them make mistakes, let them hate the place, let them not like themselves, let them love themselves, let them love Stellenbosch, South Africa, etc., and find the balance in that.
Yeah, to be independent thinkers is what I'm hearing, which is pretty much what you hope to receive from an experience. Kind of draw all of the conclusions about what you like or don't like about a place, you know, from the self. Would you say, and this is not a question I have prepared, but just going off of what you just said, are there common misconceptions about South Africa that maybe students, you know, have preconceived notions before they arrive about something that they will experience, or anything of that nature?
Yes, I think historically, which is, it's become such a stereotypical, patronizing thing to say, and so I don't venture in that direction. But historically, people would always say, "Oh, everybody, you know, thinks that South Africa, you've got wild animals running in the streets, etc." That used to be a lot of the thinking, but that's not the study abroad student who travels to South Africa or to Africa. They don't think like that, you know. So, so I immediately want to say that that's this sort of stereotypical thinking that everybody would guess a student, you know, might think. But what I find is, yes, I think students don't do enough research around the political history of South Africa. There's an understanding, yes, everybody knows about our apartheid history, etc., but they don't do enough homework and do enough in-depth research as to where our country is right now, so many years after we voted for democracy. And so I voted against apartheid. So that's one thing that I feel that students are not well prepared when they come to South Africa for. And a little thing, very few students, for instance, know that there's 11 official languages in South Africa. It's everybody just thinks there's Afrikaans, 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦, but you know, there's 11 official languages, and so a little thing like that would be great if students are informed.
Do you speak all 11 or more than just Afrikaans?
I wish. I am Afrikaans speaking, so at home we speak Afrikaans, and my second language is English, but I'm fluent in both, and I can speak a little bit of 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦, or not even speak. I can just do greetings, etc. Not enough at all. But I'll not enough at all to be fluent in any of it. Yeah.
You could tell us otherwise, and I'm not sure we would even be able to call you out on it, because I've never even heard of that other language that you mentioned. So we're all learning here, Hestea. It's fine. Specifically with Stellenbosch, would you say Afrikaans is the local language for that region, or is there something that students might hear more frequently?
So we've got a very interesting and rich language history at Stellenbosch University, which I won't go into now, but it used to be an Afrikaans learning institution. And so undergrad and postgrad were taught, the language of instruction was Afrikaans. But through years and years of the last years, our language policy have developed into quite a rich and complex policy. But now every student studying undergrad at Stellenbosch can have classes in English as an instruction language, as well as postgraduate students. So at Stellenbosch, at the university, you will hear Afrikaans and you will hear English. And you will also hear 𝗟𝗟𝗧'𝗦 or Zulu, a few of the African languages of students who are on campus, who speaks their native tongue, but they also speak English or Afrikaans and have class in English or Afrikaans. So that's in Stellenbosch on the campus. In the town, you will also hear Afrikaans and English. Stellenbosch is also a big tourist town. So it's not a city, it's a town. And there's a lot of tourists from right all year long in Stellenbosch. So you hear a lot of English, and you know, most of the shopkeepers, everybody in Stellenbosch can speak English. So yeah, you hear.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Is there, I don't know if there's a course at the University of Stellenbosch where they could learn any of these languages, but do you kind of give them like a crash course of what they should know or what would be helpful to them?
So our international students, all the international students can choose one or two, or if they do both, they can do Afrikaans for beginners.
Okay.
And which is a 3 American credit class, and they take it for the whole 6 months. Or they can do 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦, and it's also a 3 American credit class, and they take it the whole semester. What's wonderful about those two classes is it's really a very fun way of learning to speak the language, to speak the basics of the language, and it's a really fun-filled, both of them fun-filled classes. So by the end of the semester, students who take those classes can speak a very, very basic part of the language, which will help them just get through the day through different tasks in Afrikaans or 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦. And it's very popular. 100% of my American students take one or two of the language.
Absolutely. It helps to connect with locals and local culture if you speak, you know, their native language. Feedback from students, is Afrikaans more difficult or 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦 was the other one?
It's interesting feedback. 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦 is so much fun, the way that it's also taught, because it's a very difficult language to learn, but it's a beautiful language. It's got a beautiful rhythm, and it sounds absolutely beautiful when you learn it. So the students say that 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦 is more difficult, but they enjoy it incredibly because it's so very different from what they've ever experienced before. And Afrikaans, so for instance, to give you an example, a Dutch-speaking student can also take Afrikaans, but you can Afrikaans-speaking person can understand a Dutch-speaking person, and vice versa. Okay. About 70% of our languages. There are, of course, words that in both languages mean the complete opposite, so you've got to be careful. But it's very Germanic, and so it's a easier language for students to learn. Okay. But yeah, just to add to that, some of the students who do volunteer work or who does the global service learning classes, they normally try and take a language, because that does help when they do volunteer work and the sites where they work. It helps them, to connect with the clients that they work with.
Perfect. We're just going to jump into that question then. So volunteer opportunities within the Stellenbosch program, what is available to students? Do you kind of let them tell you a little bit what they're looking for before setting them up with an opportunity? Is that done through the resident director staff or the university, or a merging effort of both? If you can just tell us a little bit about those opportunities.
Yes, so it's a very strong leg and part of our program in Stellenbosch, and it's it really is also beautiful. It's a sustainable program a volunteer program that's been going for 18 years. So you can imagine the relationships that's been built at sites, and the relationships with staff at sites and with communities, and it's extremely important to be affiliated with communities that we have strong relationships with at the international office at Stellenbosch. And so students have an option there's an option to take quite a few different opportunities to do volunteer work, and it is based in communities around Stellenbosch. We do sometimes change it depends on how many students we have, but it's almost always school-related assistance. So it's helping at schools with extra teaching, with adding extra aspects to the curriculum. It's also some there's some sport volunteer work involved, there's craft volunteer work involved, And then there's also after school programs where students assist with children studying, etc. Now, those programs are non-credit bearing, so you cannot take credits home for doing the volunteer work.
Okay.
It's also a program where every single student who wants to be part of the volunteer program, they do orientation, and they've got to be present in all the training parts of the orientation to be able to go and do volunteer work. So it's not just arrive one day and then leave and never come back. You've got to commit to the program to be part of it. And be a responsible global citizen once it once we work with volunteer sites. Then we have the credit bearing part of what a lot of our students, and it's one of our flagship programs at Stellenbosch, which is the Global Service Learning Program. And that is credit bearing, where students earn 9 American credits for a full curriculum course. They do, and they add the extra hours within the community and within the schools doing volunteer work on the sites, mostly teaching work.
Perfect. Yep. So you have options. You don't have to go for credits, or you can incorporate that into your credit count. Excellent. So we'll shift a little bit back into academics and University of Stellenbosch. So can you tell us a little bit about what courses are offered? What courses seem to be most popular amongst students, maybe why those courses are the most popular, just a little bit about some of the academic opportunities.
Yes. So there's quite a few courses. Every semester we try and add new and more courses to the curriculum for international students, and that are then we try and open it up for as many international students as possible. So the English literature classes in the English faculty is quite popular, where students can take many different electives to add to quite a few, to add to a bunch of English literature electives. Then we have our political science or international relations classes are also very popular. There's quite a few in the list, but it's from American foreign policy straight through to China politics with relation to South Africa, Africa and China. There are African politics, South African politics that are added to the international relations lists. And then our sociology classes, anthropology classes are very popular. And then we have quite a few classes in the conservation ecology area, where students take biome ecology or conservation ecology classes on first, second, or third year level, which they can then carry over for 4 American credits to their schools in the States. And then I did say the GSL course, the Global Citizen Learning class. We also have then the language Afrikaans and 𝗟𝗧𝗦 classes that I spoke about, and also quite a few of our students are looking into classes of environmental science of the environmental science faculty, and so those classes are also becoming quite popular.
Awesome. That's like a pretty wide menu. You had political science in there, biology. I believe you said there's an English writing. So like there's really no just one concentration that the university kind of just hones in on and focuses, which is really nice to have variety.
Yes, and if a student is a student who's, let's say, for instance, studying science and trying to find a class that fits, that they look at the syllabus and try and find something that fits to transfer, and then they normally get in contact with me, and we then look through the whole science faculties classes that are on offer and see what fits and figure out prerequisites, etc. So there's an incredible amount of classes that students can take at the moment.
Yes. So beyond just the list that we have visible on our website, if there's something of interest to you, Hestea has a hookup with the university. She can definitely assess and go from there. Very cool. All right. We haven't really talked much about housing opportunities. But can you tell us a little bit about what the housing looks like in South Africa for our program? Are there multiple options? Is there one? If you can kind of just paint that picture for us.
So we have, for the AIFS students and international students, we've got an option to stay in a residence, and the residence is called Concordia or Academia. It's literally a 5 to 10 minute walk from campus, so it's extremely central. It's a 10-minute walk to my office and a 5-minute walk to the center part of Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch is really in a tiny town. You can walk absolutely everywhere, or you can rent a bicycle and you can cycle everywhere as well. So the housing is a beautiful building situated on campus, and we have our students, our AIFS students, they each have a single room. They have their own bathroom. Each student has an ensuite bathroom. And then four students live in an apartment where they share a kitchen and a living sitting area. So four students, 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, share a kitchen and a sitting and a living area. AIFS provides all the linen, all the bedding, everything that needs to be in the bedrooms, and we also then equip the kitchens completely. So there's pots, pans, wine glasses, everything that's needed in a kitchen, microwave, etc. is in the kitchens. So students do not have to go out and buy or rent or anything. It's fully equipped. And this residence is called Concordia, which is there's international students and South African students staying in the residence. And then on the campus, where this housing campus, there are about 18 blocks of South African students staying in little flats all around the building called Concordia. It's an extremely safe environment, a safe entrance and exit, and there's a cafeteria, there's an outside gym, and yeah, just really a lovely place to live. Unfortunately, we do not have homestays at Stellenbosch at the moment. It is something that I would like to look at in the future. And yeah, but in general, our students are extremely happy living in Concordia.
Very cool. Yeah, I heard a few really big perks. So I heard you get your own bedroom, not only your own bedroom, your own bathroom. That's a pretty big rarity for a study abroad program. You're usually having some kind of communal bathroom, maybe like 5 to 6 people sharing. Stellenbosch, very different, very, again, just for the student. That's pretty awesome. And they have all the amenities, they have the gym, they have everything within walking distance. So you really negate any kind of public transportation, correct? Just campus life in general.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the town is really, as I said, small, so students can walk or cycle everywhere. In terms of the town, they never, in terms of moving around in Stellenbosch to classes or to restaurants or the bars or sports facilities, etc., they very rarely need any other means of transport. But in we've got a huge presence of Uber in Stellenbosch. So,
nice.
Of course, at night, etc., students, when they go out to restaurants, etc., and they come back late at night, then they do use Uber. So in terms of transport, you don't need to use public transport in Stellenbosch. Nice. Yeah.
Awesome. So you've described Stellenbosch as kind of this small, quaint town, lots of tourists, or fair amount of tourism. Can you maybe, is there a city somewhere in the world, anywhere on the map, that you would maybe compare to Stellenbosch to kind of give us a visual of what it is?
Ooh, we can.
I know, tough question, but I'm sitting here trying to visualize it myself, and I'm like, is it more like Amsterdam, or is it more like, just something along that line?
It's really it's a small town in comparison to okay, let me try and put this. Okay, I'm going to think about
Take your time. We've got time. You're good.
Maybe there's a guest with a really good comparison in the States for a town like this.
Maybe. Feel free to type in your answers, guys. We will address them. Go ahead.
Also picture beautiful mountains that surrounds our town. So and then just in terms of, as I am putting our town on the map here, we also 20 minutes ride from the ocean, from the sea, where our students spend a lot of time going to the sea, etc. And of course, then yeah, a lot of beautiful mountains for hiking. The American students really get into hiking quite a bit when they're here. And so beautiful hiking opportunities. And then 35 minutes, 40 minutes a ride to Cape Town, to the beautiful city of Cape Town.
Right to the coast. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for taking us somewhere other than our bedrooms for a moment, because we desperately need things to look forward to. So yeah, Stellenbosch might be for the outdoorsman or outdoorswoman, you would say, because you have a lot of natural landmarks around you.
Yes. But also I want to add that it's also incredibly a town that really emphasize put a lot of emphasis on culture and art. For instance, we have incredible outdoor sculptures in our town. Nice. So beautiful art that's exhibited in the streets in Stellenbosch, incredible art galleries and museums. So it's also a town that's extremely rich and focused on culture and art and history. So I think it's a really good balance.
Yeah, you're very proud of your hometown. I can definitely tell. I'm planning my next trip as we speak, as we're going through this live. Very, very sold on Stellenbosch. Is there one historical statue, or maybe it's a piece of art within the town that really stands out, that maybe is a pillar of the community?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. We
maybe there's more than one.
Yeah. So if I would like to go a little bit broader than that. So one of the absolute landmarks of the Western Cape, so Stellenbosch is situated in the Western Cape. Landmarks of the Western Cape would be, for instance, Table Mountain. So a lot of people know about Table Mountain in Cape Town. And then another incredible landmark in Cape Town city, or Cape Town itself, is Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for. And so when you come closer to Stellenbosch, I think a big part of our community in our town and also tourism is the winelands, it's wine country. So we are literally situated in and amongst so many wine farms, one of the longest wine routes in the world. And so I think that's a very important, if you can call the winelands or the wine is a landmark, it's a really important part of our town and our culture.
Yeah, I can see why this attracts a lot of tourism. You have a little bit of everything for everybody: art, outdoors, like I said, natural history, the history of South Africa in general, and then you just put the cherry on top with all of the wineries. So yeah, you definitely have. There's something for everybody. Definitely very multiverse. Very awesome. So back to the students. I know we kind of went on vacation there for a second. Sorry, guys. Cultural opportunities. So outside of the volunteerism programs, maybe things you do with them during orientation, maybe excursions that you guys go on, if you want to kind of loop those together, just different opportunities that they'll have during their program.
So included in the AIFS fees are many different excursions. But before I say something about that, when you are a Stellenbosch international student at Stellenbosch University, you also have an option to become a member of a society called the International Student Society. And this is an organization that takes all international students on different excursions across the Western Cape that students have, that international students might not have access to, etc. So we do that as well. AIFS do it as well. But I try and do different excursions that what the international office do, so that AIFS students can have the full experience with all the other international students as well. So to give you examples of those, AIFS visit places of beauty, like for instance, the Cape of Good Hope, which is the Cape Nature Reserve in Cape Town. Absolutely beautiful, a beautiful part of the city. I always do a festival, try and do a festival that is relevant to our area, whether it's a wine festival or a cheese festival. Then I always do a music concert in an outdoor theatre called in Cape Town called 𝗟𝗧𝗦. So it would be a Sunday picnic in 𝗟𝗧𝗦 in the botanical gardens, and then with a live band and good South African music. And then I'm just going to take a sip.
Please, but this is a lot of information you're giving us. Please hydrate, because we want to keep hearing more and more and more.
And then we also visit Robben Island. We have a day where we visit the museum and Robben Island, the island itself, with a guide, and learn more about the history and more about the 27 years that Nelson Mandela lived there. And let me just think those, and then those are all included in the fees, and then also included is a 6-day trip on the garden route, which takes place within the university holidays, whether it's the spring or the fall holidays. And so the 6 days are a trip where we go in small little minivans all along the coast, the east coast of South Africa, all the way up to Plettenberg Bay. It's about 700 kilometers. And where we stay in quaint little places along that region, and we visit. We've got lots of different activities that we do there. There's a lot of animal excursions on the garden route, and beach time, and just really relaxation time, etc., where students can relax a little bit after a bit of a hectic arrival or first quarter of their studies, and yeah, so that's included. Then optional excursions that AIFS offers is a 3-day excursion to the beautiful Stellenbosch mountains, where we drive into a place where there's absolutely no telephone reception, etc. And we go into this beautiful wilderness area where we hike a mountain for 6 or 7 hours. We have a wine tasting. We sit under the stars, and we cook all our food on the open fires.
Oh, excellent! This is what the millennials and the Gen Zs. This is what we call #van life, right? When we're just caravanning across a country, just experiencing all the nature. Very cool. And guys, Hestea has been with us for, you said, 20 years. So if there's anyone who's an expert on how to circumnavigate South Africa, it is our Queen Hestea. She knows her stuff. Very cool. Do you have a favorite excursion out of all of those, or what one is I guess most favored by students?
Well, I want to tell you there's I think the one that's the Stellenbosch excursion is an absolute favorite for all students. They're still 18, 17 years later, still write emails to me and say they still remember that weekend so well, etc. But what I want to add is in the past, I had an excursion which was the Addo Elephant excursion, which Elephant Park excursion, which was also an optional. But I'm taking that excursion. I'm not doing that excursion anymore. I'm now adding the optional excursion to go to Johannesburg for 4 days. So it will be flying to Johannesburg, and it will be visiting this incredible rich city, where we spend a lot of time discovering the history of Johannesburg. We look at we spend a lot of time at Constitutional Hill, which shows you the apartheid history in many different aspects, with the apartheid museum, etc. Visit to Soweto, where we have an excursion where we learn more about Nelson Mandela. And we visit another museum there. So I'm adding that as an excursion, where we can just have a much broader and bigger picture of South Africa than just the Western Cape, and just always going to the places of beauty, etc., but going right into the heart and the depths of the soul of South Africa. So that's coming up next year.
That's perfect. And that history is so important. And again, for students to kind of spend 4 or 5 months there, they need to be able to kind of take away that knowledge with them. And the elephant excursion that you had prior, I'm sorry, I don't know the proper name for it. That's something that they could probably fit into a weekend or what have you, because it is somewhat
Absolutely.
local.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
will still provide students with the details to go there on their own,
Yes.
but it's not going to be part of the AIFS program.
Excellent. I'm sure they will still find a way to incorporate that into their weekends. Very perfect. Everything that you're saying is absolutely wonderful. Are there any, you gave us a lot of facts about the history and the apartheid history and all of the, again, natural beauty of South Africa, but are there any fun facts that maybe we wouldn't be able to find on the internet, things that the locals only know? I don't know, any little tips, secrets, anything like that you can share with us?
Well, from any student who has been to South Africa and who goes back home to the States, every third word that you hear is the word lekker. You've probably heard me say lekker. You spell it L-E-K-K-E-R, and you can use that word for everything. It's lekker food. It's a lekker day. It's a lekker, we're having a lekker conversation. So the word lekker is a very, very special thing for Afrikaans and English speaking people in South Africa, and I see that our students take it with them all the time when they go back home. Then there is,
Before you move on from that, I have a question. So
yeah.
Lakken, am I saying that right?
Lekker.
I'll work on that. Is that, so that's like a positive word? Yes. Correct? Okay. Because I can picture parents and people who haven't been exposed to the Afrikaans language just being like, what, are you swearing at me? Like, what are you saying? And that's kind of like the fun of these study abroad programs, as you come back with so much local knowledge. It is almost like an inside joke, not joke, but inside knowledge, if you will. So very good. On to your next fact, please.
Well, it's just another little language thing, which is really nice. We say in South Africa, I will do this now.
Mm-hmm. Now.
Yes, now, or I will do this just now. And there's a very big difference between the two. And international students are always wondering, what on earth are we talking about? You can say to someone, when will you do this? And you'll say now. But that could mean any time from now until tomorrow. You can also say to someone, I'll be there just now, but that can also mean I'll be there immediately, or I'll be there in the next hour and a half.
Okay, so just now is a shorter timeline. Now yes. Could potentially have more longevity, but really it could be within that next hour. So that could get really confusing. Is there one that I don't know if I was going to do something within the next hour, it could fall under the now. Would you use just now or now?
Just now.
Just now. Okay. Very good. I feel like this could be on a pop quiz or something, like Hestea is going to the market. She's going now. What time is she going? Very cool.
South Africans are quite renowned for we do take our time, but we are almost always on time.
Okay.
And so that's sort of just part of who we are with our language as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So promptness is a big thing within South Africa. So would you say that, do you have students that maybe they come onto this program and you see them, maybe they are a tardy student, maybe they're not on time for classes, or wheels up for the excursion, what have you? Do you see that transition within the students?
Yeah.
Throughout the semester?
In Stellenbosch, some teachers and professors will just completely close the door, not let you come in if you're a minute too late. And so some of them learn it right from the start. And I have been renowned to many times. Just if I say we leave at 9 o'clock, I will leave you behind. And you'll not come on the excursion, because then otherwise you're going to be late for the boat. So there's a lot of American students who quickly click onto the fact that we're definitely on time. That's I mean, other South Africans might have a complete different
we like that
of
accountability. That's great. So if Hestea says 9 a.m., your butt better be in the seat by 8:58 a.m. She needs you there just now, not now.
Yeah,
just now. Very good. Excellent. Very cool. I'm going to scroll back, see if we have any questions. I saw something come through, but I have to scroll back pretty far. You please feel free to go on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, while you're scrolling, I just want to add, when I spoke about the excursions, I spoke about 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦 as well, which is the organization that students can be part of. On those excursions, there are a lot of hikes, morning hikes, evening hikes, full moon hikes in the mountains around Stellenbosch. There are visits to many different museums, etc. So basically everything that you need to do as a student that it gets covered either by us, by AIFS, or by 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦. And then I just want to add something about the incredible rich culture at Stellenbosch campus of the students. The student organization, the student body has got a lot of student organizations, and they vary from the surfing club to the scuba club to craft beer tasting to the mountain hiking club, to the yoga, to modern dancing vegetarian club, to I mean, there's so many. And so what's fantastic is our students can join the clubs and be part of a South African experience, and meet South African students and immerse themselves like that into the culture as well. We have a very strong society on campus, where just take another sip.
I guess it's okay. No worries.
So we have a very strong presence on our campus and student societies that are gender-based, supportive, as well as so LGBTQ societies on campus are really well established, and has got a beautiful platform on our campus. So the students are very involved in our campus life through all the organizations.
Excellent. Yeah, you have, again, a wide variety. And one of the things that I think AIFS, we always strive for is kind of to make sure that any diversity is being acknowledged, any inclusivity initiative. You know, we definitely want our students to feel like they are able to be them full selves in all of our locations of study. So we definitely love that the campus organizations do recognize that and allow the international students to be a part of that family as well. Very cool. Excellent. I don't know where we were going from here next, but questions. That's right. Thank you. My mind is in the now, not the just now. Okay, let's see. We have, what are some fun slang or local phrases that are said in Stellenbosch, or South Africa? So you kind of did tell us a little bit about this, but are there any phrases that in Afrikaans or just things that South Africans might say in general that are pertinent to that geographic? Besides just now and now.
Yeah, I've got a complete blank. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you in a second. Yeah, so I've gone complete blank on phrases. I'll tell you in a second.
I think you gave us a really good one. I've never, not just in an English sense or like an American sense. We don't use the just now and the now. So I think that one is pretty fitting. That's okay. So we do have what I like to call the lightning round. So I'm just going to give you a word, and you just want to find just another word in return that is relative to South Africa or your experiences or anything of that nature. So first one, my favorite, food. We didn't talk about food.
No, I know.
We can talk about food, please. Indulge. Uh-oh. Can I hear you? Are you speaking?
Yeah.
Try one more time. Okay, good, good, good.
Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, we can hear you. We are good.
Okay, so food. I think my connection is a bit bad. Let me just try and connect here again.
You are good. We are with you.
Okay, so food. The South African food is. There we go. I can see it now. It's absolutely fantastic. It's fresh, and I'll say one of our traditional dishes is called 𝗟𝗧'𝗦. Sometimes the American students call it 𝗟𝗧'𝗦, but it's 𝗟𝗧'𝗦, and it's a curry, ground beef meat that's curried, and a mixture of egg on top. 𝗟𝗧'𝗦.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Very good. Would you say Stellenbosch, is it, or South Africa in general, if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, or you don't eat dairy, or you don't, I think I covered all of the outlets. Is it easy to accommodate?
Extremely easy. Our vegan students and vegetarian, and I've had fruitarian students are really always completely surprised. We have an incredible amount of fresh, selected, and much cheaper than in the States vegetables and salads. And our restaurants, every restaurant in Stellenbosch on their menu has got a little sign next to it that says dairy-free, vegan, vegetarian, etc. So it's a community that in South Africa, and Stellenbosch in South Africa, that's completely catered for. No problem. Yeah. Excellent. And you'll go to a braai. A braai is a barbecue on the open fire. We call it a braai. Right. And you'll go to a braai to someone, and it's not just about the meat. There's always especially in this generation, there's always beautiful vegetarian options that goes on the fire.
Yes, and you're on the Western Cape, so the seafood, I imagine, is pretty. Yeah. You've got access to probably some of the best seafood. I'm getting hungry just having this conversation. We'll move on. You did talk a little bit about this, but transportation, if there's a word that you can use to describe transportation in Stellenbosch, what would it be?
Foot. Walk.
Foot. Yeah.
Walking.
Pedestrian. All about it. Yes. If you're looking to get your steps in, this might be a good program for you, for sure. This one's hard.
Any given time when you are awake, if you're awake 5 o'clock in the morning, or you walk back to your residence at 8 o'clock at night, you will see Stellenbosch students running in the streets for exercise and walking. A very active community. Running community.
Excellent. Very good. This one's hard to ask, but we're going to try anyway. Locals. One word to describe the locals.
Friendly and accommodating.
There, just like Hestea, she's in that community of friendly and accommodating. Very good. Language. We talked a little bit about this as well.
Language. It's I would say it's rich and colorful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. From what I understand, just versatile. It sounds like, you have 11 different languages. You definitely will. You'll come home learning how to say something in one of them.
Yeah.
Very good. Landmarks. We talked about this as well, but
so landmarks, we've covered quite a few. In Stellenbosch, I would say the winelands, and then the beautiful university buildings. The architectural buildings the architecture is quite astonishing and stunning in Stellenbosch.
We didn't really talk about the architecture. So if you, again, take us somewhere else on the map besides South Africa for a second, besides Stellenbosch, what would you compare that architecture to? Or is it just so unique, one of a kind, you cannot?
Well, it's an interesting mix. Well, in Stellenbosch, it's mainly the Dutch, what do you call it? Dutch architecture. So it looks very much like if you would go to the Netherlands, you'll see those type of houses. But in South Africa, so that's in Stellenbosch, the Cape Dutch homesteads. And then you'll also see a lot of thatch roof houses in South Africa, which is part of the Zimbabwean art stone wall, the Zimbabwean art houses with stone walls and thatch roofs. So it's a very unique architecture, but in Stellenbosch mainly is the Cape Dutch homesteads.
Very cool. Yeah, you definitely have versatility between the African root culture and then like your European. It's a nice little melting pot. Excellent. And then we did talk about this earlier, but you know, if we're constantly learning from our RDs, our students come back and tell us all the things that they've learned from you guys and how you've impacted their time. Can you tell us maybe one takeaway lesson that you've continually learned from the students that study with you?
Yeah, sure.
A tough one.
Just one that I learned.
One big one.
So on a superficial level, I always tell the students that I absolutely love their music. Every 6 months, I learn new music when I'm in the vans, driving with the students. So that's sort of on a light superficial level. But on a deeper level, I learn. I really learn about resilience, and I learn from the students that they are brave stepping into this world, and that they are willing to learn more of who they are, and that they are willing to become better people, and that they are willing to step into the unknown and give up some of the comfortable, predictable daily lives that they have in the States, and that they want to move forward and that they want to learn. And so I look at that and I just absolutely love it. I love the spirit of that, and I wish I can stay like that forever.
Well, that's the goal. You're stuck with us, Hestea, that's for sure. I have nothing to add. That was so beautifully said. And also, you know, just a testament to you guys, our RD staff. We see these students, they arrive as one person and they return as somebody completely different, and always for the better. So thank you for being part of our family and impacting the students and just making the program what it truly is. It would not be the same without you. So thank you so much. Let me see one more time if we have any other questions. I think we got them all. So I will let you finally go to bed, Hestea.
I've remembered just 2 things that I want to say that I forgot.
Sure, please.
I was a blank on some phrases. South Africans always say something like you would say a sentence or an expression, and then we'll say, "Is it?
Is it?
Is it?" And it means really, but we don't say really. We say, "Is it?"
Gotcha.
And that's, yeah. And we also use the word sharp. We'll say, you'll ask me, how was the soccer game last night? And I'll say, sharp.
Sharp.
Sharp, as in SHARP. It was
yes.
Sharp. It was really great.
Awesome.
So that's another little slang that I quickly had to.
I'm keen on these. I am going to try to incorporate just now and now for the rest of my life. That's excellent. Well, Hestea, thank you again for being with us today. Excellent information for our students. I believe that if we have any questions, we will get those to you further beyond this live. But again, thank you for all that you do, for spending your afternoon with us, your night with us, your Wednesday night. Goodness, I don't even know what day it is. And hopefully we will see you in the just now, not the now, yes. Very soon. Excellent. All right, Hestea, you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.